Okay, so what I'm going to be demonstrating is the in-between stitches, finishing the bottom of a basket. So we've got this flat weaver that is going in between the rows of twine, and so I'm adding in several of the wefts right here. So I'm doing a 2-strand twine in between. So this is the flat one that's basically going over, under here. It's like a plating stitch almost in between the row of 2-strand twine. It just adds some strength to the basket and a different texture. The thing I like about spruce roots is you can really tug them into place. Give it some, and so see here we've got a little bit more of a space in between, so I'm going to add another piece in here. I've got these prepped already to the right length. I'm going to fold it in half so we're doubling the warps, and I'm adding it around this flat one, so that seems to give it some strength. One of them is going to go with the upper one, so I'm kind of tucking that in underneath so you don't see the fold, and then the underneath one is going to go with the second stitch behind. So I'm trying to be careful not to tangle them up, but just let those pull apart and let those two just sit there and wait. Move that one over just a little. Give that last stitch a good tug. I lost where the back one was. I usually like to try to keep hold of that back one with my finger so I can move it into place a little quicker, and then weave that one into place. The front one comes across and down. The back one comes up and forward. Give it a good tug. Pull on that one into place, and then find those two that I left behind to wait. Do the same thing there. Top one goes over and down. The back one comes across and up. Again, give that flat one a good tug so that it's curling into place. And then check out how much space we have for the next stitch. These two are a little thinner than the others. I think I will add another one right there. So I'm going to tuck that. See, so one of them is going to stay, one of them is going to come up, the other is going to go down. I'm going to split those two and then add this one in underneath it. Again, fold it in half, tuck that down behind so the fold is hidden. That one's just a little bit longer than the other piece, but that's okay. Let me make sure I have enough room in the back. I'm going to tuck that down and bring the back one forward to a 2-strand twine there. Find these two that are waiting for me. It's nice to kind of do this one a couple stitches ahead, otherwise it sort of distracts you here, but sometimes you have to kind of go back and undo it when you're adding them in, but just to lead that one up a little bit so that it tracks better. It helps to keep these a little less tangled. And then it's always good to turn it over and check the back of your work real quick. Make sure you're not dropping any, because it's easy to go back a couple of stitches, but it breaks your heart when you have to go way far back. And then So I'm going to keep going around and adding in several more of those, but I could stop there and demonstrate the 3-strand anytime you want me to.
Okay.
Does that seem like a good time?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so for the 3-strand, how do I do that, Delores, actually with this flat weaver? Then I end up dropping the flat weaver, right?
Right.
So this one,
just pull it to the back.
so we'll just pull that one to the back.
Because you're still going to really use it, right?
I'm
You
still
just
going
want
to,
it
yeah.
out of
So
the
I
way.
just, we're going to tuck that one out of the way and try to push this down so that this blends into a nice even circle. Normally I would probably cut that into a little bit of a wedge shape so that it blends a little better into the next row. So to do the 3-strand, I'm going to pull that forward. I'm going to pull that forward. Get the whole thing a little bit wet again. And then I have a 3rd strand here prepped. Untie that. And then I'm going to thin out the end so that I can blend it in. So I cut a little too much off. Just thin it, not cut it. And then run it over the back of my knife just to make sure it's good and flexible and strong. If it breaks somewhere in between there, then there's a weak spot in it and you don't want that in your basket anyway. So this end that I flattened out here, I'm going to take and I'm going to add in, okay, so here I've got 2 strands there, and I'm going to add the 3rd. So I'm going to add the 3rd one by going up under this top one and tucking the tail to the back and just holding it down with my finger so that I can tug on that a little bit. And then I'm going to pull this one out of the way, pull this one out of the way. I'm going to go down behind and then pull it forward so that I've got 3 strands here with 1 weft in between each one. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and now I'm ready to start my 3-strand twine. And when you're doing the 3-strand twine, you're wanting it to go up and around the corner. So I'm going to bend this, crease it just a little bit as I go. Because this is the transition between the flat bottom to the straight edge of the basket. So these are all going to come straight up and the bottom's going to be hidden down below. And this 3-strand braid is what's going to make the corner nice and sharp and hold those in place as they go up. So again, I'm letting go of that 3rd one. I need to remember to hold on to that end until I get it locked in place pretty well. And so this is going to be done with 3 strands by taking the furthest one under the other 2, tuck these 2 back, this one goes around and behind one. And we're weaving over pairs of wefts here, so tuck that one back out of the way just so it stays there. And then the important thing is to pull on all 3 of them with the same tension at the same time and kind of folding it at the same upwards while you go. And so you just kind of keep up with that same rhythm. So the furthest one back goes forward, these 2 pull up out of the way, wrap this up and around behind the 2. Hold that up so you get the nice angle of the corner, and then give it a good snug pull. I'm just going to miss the ends of these because they're getting a little dry. So we'll just keep on with that same rhythm. This is one of my favorite stitches actually because it makes a nice even twill when you get all 3 of the materials prepped right. See how I've got just a little shred right there. I'm gonna cut that off. So again, the furthest one of the three, the farthest back, goes under the other two. Pull them up, around behind that one, pull it forward. So you've got one in between each of the weavers, and then pull it down. So this is the pattern of the three-strand twine as it's coming forward. Makes this nice even twill. Like I was saying, it's important to get the material prepped right. If you get them a little bit out of sync, then you'll get a mismatched kind of offset braid where one is thinner than the other and they don't match right. And then that's going to go all the way around the perimeter of the basket here, and that's what's going to make the entire thing start shaping. So at that point, if you're using a form, then it's important to get the shape of the form correct right in there. And so you start making this fold all the way around, and from a nice flat even spidery disc to what starts shaping into looking like a little basket right there. So this is what a finished one looks like. This three-strand braid is the edge right here. You see this nice even twill all the way around this way, forming the corner all the way up. And the important thing is to keep track of where you started it so that you end it in the same place right there, and it makes just a little bit of a jog right there, and that's where the first little jog in your pattern starts. So that's the final ending of the three-strand twine.